200 kilowatts of peak charging that holds all the way to 80% state of charge. 108 kilowatt hours usable battery for a WLTP range of 770 kilometers. 385 kilowatt combined motors of 516 horsepower and 855 newton meters of torque. The lowest drag coefficient of any production car, 0.2. 3 screens covered by 377 square inches of glass with 12 haptic feedback motors. Is this a level of luxury and refinement that we haven't yet seen in an EV?
Hello and welcome to EV Platform. Today we're going to be talking about the Mercedes EQS. It is luxurious. It has a price tag to match. It has all the bells and whistles when it comes to technology. But the question we've asked in the thumbnail and the reason that you've clicked on this video is it going to be the Millionaire's EV?
So we're talking about the Mercedes EQS. Let's jump straight into some of the details on what sort of power and performance this car has. We've got two different versions of it. We've got the 450 and the 580. Start off with the 450. We've got a rear wheel drive motor of 245 kilowatts. So it's putting out decent horsepower. You got 568 newton meters of torque. And we're looking at a 0 to 100 kilometer hour sprint in about 6.2 seconds. So it's a fast car. But if we really want to talk about speed and you're looking at trying to catch up with the likes of the Teslas and the Lucids, then you're going to be buying the 580. And that's where the all-wheel drive comes in. You've got the extra motor. So it's going to be a combined 385 kilowatts. You know, that added motor is going to add about 100 kgs to the weight. It'll be a little bit stronger, but then you've got more power coming in behind it. That's going to give you 855 newton meters of torque, and it drops that 0 to 100 kilometer sprint down to 4.3 seconds. Now, I've seen a clip online which suggests that in reality, once this car hits the roads, it's going to be slightly faster than that. Maybe Mercedes are kind of under-promising and over-delivering on that one. We'll see. There's plans afoot as well for more than 700 horsepower version of this car coming down the line. And we'll be sure to get back to you with some details when that happens. That's quite exciting. But Derek, so I've just been burning down the Autobahn at a maximum speed of 210 kilometers an hour, and I need to charge. How am I going to do it?
Well, first of all, what kind of battery have you got that's going to bring you down that Autobahn at 210 kilometers an hour? So it is some stats. Take a seat, take a deep breath. It is 396 volt pack. It has a gross battery of about 108 kilowatts, 107.8 kilowatt hours to be exact. So you think about the Model S Tesla, that's about 100 kilowatt hours. You think about the Lucid Air, that's about 113 kilowatt hours. So it's within the same remit. It has a WLTP of 770 kilometers. Now, we think that on the Autobahn, when Blake is driving and the cold weather, it's going to probably get around 400 kilometers. But if your butler is driving you around the city and it's a nice Mediterranean, we'd say the south of France, probably going to be getting 900 kilometers. It is going to be crazy. Charging it DC, it's going to peak at 200 kilowatts. So if you can find a charger that's going to be able to give you that, but they reckon that the charging curve, it's even going to take that up to about 80%. AC is a bit funny. It comes in only at 9.6 kilowatts, which is probably on the smaller side. There are rumors in Europe it's going to have a option of getting a 22 kilowatts. So the maximum AC street pedestal that we'd usually see. It has 4 levels of regen, and it also has the ability to, once it's traveled a road and you travel it again, it understands where it needs to brake, the corners, the roundabouts, etc., the topography of the road, which is really, really good. And that's kind of the future tech stuff that Mercedes are really good at bringing out. It has a regen level of up to, it's saying on the website, it can regen up to 290 kilowatts. Now, we can't get our head around this, and we've checked it a couple of times, because the regen, you can only charge DC up to 200 kilowatts, but then it's saying they can regen up to 290. So let us know in the comments how that works, because myself and Blake haven't got the mental capacity to try and figure that out. It has a drag coefficient of 0.2. So it is slippery. The Tesla Model S, the Lucid Air, they're all in around that. It hasn't taken the crown for the most aerodynamic, and drag efficient. That still is held by the GM EV1, which was 1.9. So but it's an amazingly efficient car. It also has rear axle steering to get you around the corner better. And very much like Tesla, every car will have the option, but they'll unlock how far those wheels turn depending on the level and that you're going for. What else we have, Blake, is how big is this?
It's a big car. It's yeah, very big car. Yeah, we're talking about what 3.21 meter wheelbase here. And I remember when we did a video a couple of months back on the Ioniq 5, we were raving about the fact that it had a 3 meter wheelbase, which was and still is impressive. But this is a lot bigger again. Car stretches out to 5.22 meters, so it's a very, very substantial car on the road, at least by European standards, anyway. You've still got a good boot as well. I mean, they could have made it a lot bigger, but this car isn't about, putting children's buggies into the back of it. Let's be honest. It's going to be a 610 litre boot, and that's going to go to nearly 1,800 litres if you fold the seats down. But let's be honest, if you've got so much luggage, your butler, is going to be collecting that for you, or some other company. Also, just to mention as well, because we love our fruits, our frunks in our EVs, but the EQS, despite its size, doesn't have one. And I'm not going to mention anything more about that because Derek's going to come around to that later when he talks about the tech, which, Derek, you might move on to it first now.
Yeah, so again, because it's the apex car for Mercedes, it's going to have a lot of tech that they're hoping to roll out down the line, but they're going to be first movers in this. So there has a hyper screen as one of the options depending on the trim level, and that's a glass panel that goes right the way across the dash, side to side, and then down the middle. Not on all of them, but the ones that it does have. And then it has screens built in behind that. So it has 377 square inches. It has haptic feedback. It has 12 motors. So these aren't just looking pretty. You can touch them, but it's going to be a fingerprint magnet. It also has a third screen in front of the passenger, but it has camera technology inside that if the driver is looking over at that screen when the passenger is, whatever they're doing, it'll dim that passenger screen. So safety is of paramount to Mercedes, which is great. Also, those cameras help with the moving of the wing mirrors. And so it knows what wing mirror you're looking at. So when you're adjusting it, you don't even have to select which one it is. The Mercedes EQS knows it. Doors, you walk up to it and the door will open automatically. You sit in, or your butler sits in, your chauffeur sits in, and then when you press the brake pedal, it closes the door after you. So amazing. We were talking about why it doesn't have a fruit or a frunk, and that's because it has an absolutely ginormous air filtration unit. It has the surface area of 150 football pitches, and it has 600 grams of activated charcoal. So you don't even have to breathe in the front. So that front section, you don't even open it. There's a little side panel on the side of the EQS where you put in your water. You won't be putting the water in for the window wipers. It'll be your chauffeur, your butler, as we keep saying. It will have over-the-air updates. Yeah, lots of tech inside.
Yeah, but how does it look, Derek? Tell us a little bit more about that.
It is the pinnacle of plush, Blake. That's what we're going to class. And Mercedes, if you'd liked, that's the tagline. And if you don't take it, somebody else will. So it is going to be, you're going to be cocooned in leather. I'm not sure if there's a vegan leather option, but it is going to be very luxurious, but also very tech. It is an EV, so you are getting the best of the best in there. So gorgeous. If that's your thing. Some people will prefer a Model S with the minimalist look. So that's where the decision is going to be made. But a lot of Mercedes drivers at that level and that S-Class buyer, this is what they're used to. This is what they expect. Inside, that's what it looks like. Blake, what does it look like on the outside? What are the aesthetics like?
Yeah, I think what I'd like to do is just take it back to the concept. When we saw Mercedes coming out of this, and we thought, wow, that's just a really, really futuristic looking luxury car from Mercedes. This is fascinating. It's great vision showing. And then when the actual car came out, there was quite divided opinion. A lot of people were really, really disappointed with how it looked. So we come back to that in a moment. But like when you look at the car, there's, the production one that we're going to be seeing on the roads in a few months' time. You can see that aerodynamics obviously played a strong part in how it was developed, with that fantastic drag coefficient. Even the bonnet is slightly pitched to meet the windshield. You're not going to have significant panel gaps in this as well. Quite a slippery car. When you look at it from the side on as well, you've got what Mercedes are calling the bow, and you can see that, what seems to be anyway from a lot of the photos and videos so far, that kind of silver streak that just forms an arc around the cabin, the perimeter of the cabin, to keep you cocooned inside, as you've said a few times, Derek. So I think it's a very luxurious looking car. I think it looks quite well. It doesn't live up to the promise of that kind of futuristic appeal that we've had in the past. And some people are quite disappointed by that, but I think those people are not cutting the checks at Mercedes and looking after the sales. If they had released that car and at how it looked at the time, I don't think they would have followed up with the people that are going to be buying this car. Look, that's probably enough about what it looks like. People can, they're looking at the photographs up there and the videos on screen. Derek, we've established it's a luxurious, high-tech, powerful car. Are we going to have to pay a lot of money for this? Am I going to be able to afford this with my pocket money?
Blake, if you have to ask the price, you cannot afford it. So there's your answer straight away. It is UK sterling between 100 and 115,000 pounds. Let's turn that over to the European euro, and that's going to be 120,000 to 140,000. So that's depending on, and then there's options on top of that. So yes, it is going to be a six-figure luxurious electric vehicle. And yeah, some people like it, some people don't like it. But we asked it in the thumbnail. I've asked it at the start of the session, Blake. Is it the Millionaire's EV?
You got to look at the competition and what's out there. And my answer to that is going to be a yes, because there's some people are going to jump in and say, well, no, like, if I was a multimillionaire, I'd buy a Lotus Evija or a Pininfarina Battista. Yeah, those cars are more expensive, but a lot of people, the millionaires that are going to be buying this car, they don't want to be crouching down into one of those cars. They're going to want a really, really luxurious kind of saloon or sedan. And what else is out there? Are people going to be buying the Model S? Some might buy a Model S over the EQS, but I think the EQS is going to attract a very different buyer. And talk about competition that's going to exist at the time when this car comes out anyway. There's not much else out there. And I think that, to answer your question, yeah, this is the one that millionaires are going to be buying,
I think are going to have a bit of competition in the very near future, though, with the established marques like Bentley, like Rolls-Royce. We better not forget them. These are usually the people that will take those millionaire checks and cash them very happily and have that database, have that Rolodex of clients and customers to say, we know that you're due your next car, sir. The next one that we're going to produce is going to be an electric. Have you any problem with that? I don't mind at all, because my butler or chauffeur is going to drive it. And all of these brands have spent thousands and hundreds of thousands developing quiet cars, cocooning the engine noise. And I know that we have an example of one of the recent Rolls Royces, and they put the pound coin on the engine when it's on, and it doesn't move at all. But so they don't have to worry about any of that with an electric vehicle. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this space. And I think Blake, myself and yourself are both putting our hands up to say we're happy to test it out. Is that right?
Yeah, look, Derek, I mean, you're kind of, you're mocking here people talking about butlers and chauffeurs. I know you've got at least a couple of these cars in your basement or your garage.
Let's not put that rumor out there, Blake. What we would like you to do is subscribe to this channel to help us achieve those type of cars in the basement. But joking aside, we've done a couple of different EVs. We've done some powerful one. The most recent one was the BMW i4 M50. But we said we'd bring this to the table today just because there is going to be a market for a luxurious electric vehicle, and it's great to see that full range of EVs starting to fill out now. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's chat. Hopefully you've already subscribed. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Give a like to the video. This has been EV Platform.
Thanks for watching.
I have no idea what that pause is about, but I really do appreciate it, Blake. Thank you so much.
I didn't know you were going to do that to me. Like, he stopped talking, split-second decision.
Yeah, he didn't mention his name. Hold on a second. His name was my trigger. I am the Manchurian.